Good morning. I am up Saturday morning and I was hungry, so I started cooking. Let me turn this off so I can pay attention. Focus. There's a whole game that happens in my life, in my house. Just be me. But I try to go to the market each week, usually and do a big market day. And then I go to my neighborhood market in between that. And so me and the Gangsta Grannies will probably go to the market this morning. So it's like, okay, what do I need to move out of this house? So I've got some chopped greens, some beet greens, and a few other kinds of greens that I'm gonna saute this morning and probably have with eggs. So I have to, it's the rush to hurry up and eat it up so you can go get some more. Gangsta Grannies, oh, they are winding down. They are realizing that we're in the last week of this. Time has passed, and we're in the last week of their time here. And we have progressed. We moved officially to step 5A yesterday. We finished both step 3 and 4 over the past few days, and we are moving on to step 5. And like the end is in sight. The end is in sight. We're making good progress. Let's see, reflections on yesterday. Looking at my notes, I have we're recording. Part of the work exchange was giving me the opportunity to record our sessions and collect mostly audio because the video is not all that great, usually because of me. Um, but collecting the information that happens, some of what we share, and I'm using my technology, which lets me, when I use Google Meet, it records and takes notes. And so it lets me kind of have a refresher of what we talked about. I should have done this from the beginning. I didn't, but as we progressed in, for a lot of reasons, mostly my technology issues, I switched to this, and it's a better way. Um, Yesterday we started. I started my thoughts. Um, the Bobby Caldwell song, "What You Won't Do for Love," and I have several pieces that I've written as part of another book that follows up to another book. And it's about music and about music that teaches us stuff or that can. And I have several artists so far that I've done pieces on, written pieces on, that the working title of that project are um, The Men Who Reminded Me How to Love Me. And one of the songs that really embodies that is the Bobby Caldwell song, "What You Won't Do for Love." And that sparked me because one of the Gangster Grannies had posted something on her Instagram. She had shared a post, I think, of her daughter, one of her daughters, singing that song, open mic night or something like that. And the piece really shares about, or it comes from the vantage point of, what if this song isn't about an outward love? Would this song apply if this song was to me? If I'm singing this song to me, would this give me an indication of how to love myself? And I shared that writing with them. I may post it at some point, and it'll eventually be published or people can read it themselves. But it was a reminder that we do all kinds of things searching for love. And so much of it rests within us. It's getting into a loving relationship with ourselves. And this work really is a part of that journey. The ladies have shared several times about this giving them clarity. I'm getting clarity about who I am. I'm getting clarity about who I say I am and who I really want to be. I'm giving clarity about the disconnect between who I say I am and who I really am, who I'm able to live, the me that I'm able to live. And so we started kind of there about love for ourselves and not looking for that outside, but being able to deal with that from the inside, the part of life that I have some say so over, control even. And finishing up step 4 has been about looking at me in the mirror, the me in the mirror. The other song and the writing that I shared was a piece that also is a chapter in this book, but it's from a piece that I wrote back in 2019 about the me in the mirror. And it's the Bill Witherspoon song, Lovely Day. What if that was speaking to me? What if when I got up in the morning and looked in the mirror at me, I knew that everything was going to be okay? Um, it's reining in that control in my life to choose the life that I live, to choose happiness, to decide that today is going to be a good day. And I shared about that and shared the Kirk Franklin version too, and about really the example that I was given of what that looks like. And it was my dad. It was 10 days before my dad died. And it was deciding that today was going to be a lovely day. He knew he was dying. He knew that it was imminent. Death was imminent. And I watched him not flinch at death, but put his energy into living life fully each day he had. And on that particular day, it was the 7th of June in 2007. And my dad had the opportunity to take his last motorcycle ride. And as I shared with him the video with that song, it was all of the things that could have stopped him from living fully. I'm achy. I'm dying. My body may hurt, but his spirit was alive. And in the corniness of who my father was, in the corniness of who his daughter is, his daughter's an instigator. And the men that came on their motorcycles that my dad recognized as they drove up, he said, those are gold wings. How you know what it sound like? He did, and he was right. And they said, Mr. Charles, would you like to take a ride? And he had been complaining a few minutes before that about feeling achy that day. He should have felt a whole lot achy, but he wasn't in that much pain from what he said. But the cancer had metastasized to all of his bones. And instead of answering their question, he simply looked at me and said, go get my shoes. That if given the opportunity to take one last ride, that you don't hesitate, you don't flinch to live life. And this video diary of that day shows him too weak to walk out to the motorcycle. Him in the wheelchair as we all help to facilitate this. We all instigators. And taking this ride, that was something that he loved. He hadn't been able to do it for about 6 months or so. He was too weak. Was losing weight too fast. His bike was too big. And it was I think, an 1800 Gold Wing. Big bike, big bike. But he took the opportunity to live because he got to choose how he wanted to live. He knew that his death really wasn't something he had much control over, whether he lived or died. But he would remind me every day that if he woke up, it was on purpose. And that he could choose, he was choosing to figure out the whys and to make sure that he left that day with no regrets, so that whether he woke up or not, he'd be leaving with no regrets. Part of being able to control your life is not having your emotions do it for you, not having the fear instigate your behaviors, sometimes in misalignment with your values, the reality of who you say you are. Not letting your insecurities cause you to act in ways that are out of character. It's not letting guilt cripple you into decisions that may be habit. It's about choosing every day, every interaction you have, who you're going to be, how you're going to show up in the world. And I say it often, trauma is the addiction. Until we heal the trauma, the addictions continue. But I don't use substances. There's so many addictions. What are you using to help you not feel as insecure or as afraid or as guilty about the life you're living that doesn't feel honest? The parts of life that doesn't feel honest, because usually it's not all of life, but it's enough that it makes a difference. This work is about being able to heal the trauma so that the drugs of choice, the behavioral drugs of choice, stop being what we reach for. It's like saying, I really want to be supported. But then what we reach for is that defense mechanism that shuts everybody out. I want help. And we reach for the defense mechanism that is silence. I want love. But we reach for the mechanisms that put a defensive barrier around us. Or we reach for behaviors that are everything other than the ask for love. And this work is about saying, I got to heal the trauma to break the addiction, with those behaviors that I reach for almost automatically. And with this training, and now I realize that those behaviors, the very behaviors that I was reaching for, are adding to the trauma in my life. But this work isn't about behavior modification. It isn't about acting better, acting healed. It's about dealing with the real damage so that the healing is sustainable. It continues. And so in this last step that the ladies have gone through, step 4B, it has asked them to look at their behaviors. Look at the things that you reached for. Look at the habits that you made that were really part of your defense mechanism. The first thing they did was honor that, because that is what has allowed you to survive. Honor it. Feelings of sorrow and grief and heaviness, but honor it, because there is honor in survival. Whatever you did to survive, to make it to the point where you're ready to heal, where you have the opportunity to heal, where you have the capacity to heal, honor that. But then we turn the mirror to ourselves because we need more information. What are the things that I've done that have created trauma in my life? And what did that cost me? What did the behavior that did align cost me? Because you need to know the cost of the behavior that may harm and the behavior that may give you freedom, because there's still a cost. It's come up over and over again. Choosing the value that aligns with you, especially if you haven't practiced it, is going to cost you comfort. You're going to have times where you feel uncomfortable. And sometimes that may feel like an unbearable price to pay. I don't want to feel that uncomfortable. No judgment, just choices, just observations, just information. But every choice we make has a cost, has a value. My life currency's got to pay it. And so there, in step 4, taking those behaviors and really looking at what my values are around these behaviors. One of them for me that I shared, survive. Survive. But it's not okay to lie. I said, I won't say anything. And that got me to safety. But I lied. I lied. But lying is bad. But survival wins out in some cases. Because it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. Sometimes our values are interconnected. Sometimes our values are situational. If there's danger, one of my trauma cycles, one of my healing cycles, pointed out I chose violence. And part of my value base was someone's doing you harm. And sometimes violence as a defense fits my value system. I don't believe I have the right to violate other people's body and space. But in that situation, it aligned with my values to survive. It also aligned with my values that say, you should not cause me harm. You don't have the right to cause me physical harm. I have the right to defend myself. And so it's messy. It's not a straight line, but sitting with that is what the ladies have been doing the past few days. What did I do? What are my values surrounding my behavior? And what did it cost me? And then we finished at 4, and they thought that we were down the mountain. And I told them we don't come down the mountain until 5B. It's an uphill battle until we get to 5B, and then we leap off the mountain. We leap off the mountain. Back into life is what happens. You leap off the mountain back into life. But 5B takes us to resolution. But first, 5A asks them to calculate the losses. The ladies have worked on 30 healing cycles. They have listed individually the losses. But in this step, they collectively list their losses. These things in this healing chapter of my life journey, these actions by you and these actions by me have caused these losses. They sit with that. They sit with whether these were losses that you created or the behavior that you enacted, or whether it was my behavior. This is ownership. Some of the loss comes from you. That's real. Fact. And some of the loss comes from me. That too is real. Fact. These are my losses. Living in these ways, in these relationships, in these interactions has cost me something. What is the cost? Step 5A seems simple, but it's heavy. The ladies will be taking all of these situations that they have dug up from their life. Some of them from places that have been buried for a very long time. And they're going to sit with what these situations have cost them. How much life energy has it cost you? How much have you been carrying? Because what happens is until we release it, all of that energy is in the bags. It's the stuff we carry around through life. It's the heaviness It's the reason why life sometimes feels so exhausting. This is an opportunity for the ladies to see what some of these weights are that have weighed their life down. What does it cost? Some of the observations from the ladies have been, I didn't realize how heavy this stuff was. And this is the tip of the iceberg. These are 30 incidents from my life, and they're seeing how absolutely heavy they are. And then recognizing that this ain't it. They don't leave here healed. They leave here with the tools to be able to more and more heal. They leave having had the opportunity to lift some of their big boulders while they've got support. Got someone to help guide them through to the resolution. But when they leave here, they'll be equipped because the rest of the work continues. It's not just these 30 incidents. If they look at this on a timeline, this is a very, very small part of their life, minutes of their lives. Even in these 30 incidents, minutes, mere minutes of their life. And recognizing the heaviness of that. Letting them know that they can deal with these kinds of things. One of the things about coming and doing this intensive is knowing that you can sit with these strong emotions. Sometimes the fear that I see is really the fear about uncovering these emotions. What happens if I open this up? It feels so heavy and so painful. If I open it up and go down this rabbit hole, can I get back out? Who supports me as I go down this rabbit hole? And part of this is about recognizing for them or taking with them as they leave the reality, the facts, the truth that I can sit with these strong emotions. Does it hurt? Yes, it's painful. Sadness, grief, sorrow, the feelings, feel unsupported, unloved, unheard, misunderstood. And the list goes on. Angry, angry, angry. That I can sit with these emotions. I can sit with these emotions. I can let these emotions do what they do for me, give me information. I can let them subside, and then I can work through what their message is. What are these emotions trying to tell me? And so they leave with a capacity to sit with strong emotions, with the capacity to take those emotions as information and be able to come to a resolve that reinforces their values, a resolve that reinforces boundaries that may need to be in place, resolve that reinforces how they choose to be, how they choose to live. And so part of doing the work of healing gives you the capacity to continue doing the work of healing. How do you know you can sit with these strong emotions and it not crush you if you haven't done it? It's great in theory. Yeah, I probably can deal with tough stuff and strong emotions, but the ladies will go home having done that. There's something about hands-on. If you've done it, then you know that you have the capacity to do it again. And so part of this is about equipping them for life, equipping them for things that happen in life, because this doesn't fix life. This doesn't fix life so that, oh, there's no more things that traumatize you. Nope, they're going to go back and life is still lifing. There will be things that traumatize them or have the potential to. This gives them the tools to be able to address it, the tools to be able to stop things from traumatizing you sooner, and the tools to be able to deal with things that have already traumatized you and that may traumatize you again, because that's real. And so that's where the ladies are today. We don't have circle time today. We will have our Sankofa Circle tomorrow morning. That gives them a little time to work with their 5A, to sit with it, to refuel if need be, to be able to sit with it. They're going to do some celebration today because they finished up 3 and 4, 2, 3, and 4 before they could get their celebratory ice cream in. They're going to refuel so that they can sit with these strong emotions. Looking at the losses, one of the words that we talked about, Michelle and DJ Ochella's song, Tsunami Rising. We talked about fire. We went there too. Yesterday was a big music day, I think. We talked about fire. And the rise, the phoenix is a symbol here that I see used. And it's farm wisdom. You know, I'm a retired farmer. It's realizing that fire has a purpose. At the end of cycles and the beginning of new cycles, fire burns the weeds off, burns the roots, burns the seed so that it can't germinate. But then the ash becomes part of what fertilizes new seed, good seed. The Michelle and DJ Ochella piece called Tsunami Rising is talking specifically to women, to Black women. But I think the message is universal. The oppression of life that many of us feel. You don't have to be Black. You don't have to be a woman. What does oppression feel like to you? It feels like not being true. And in the piece that she speaks, Tsunami Rising, she talks about fire. And there's a part at the end that says there's no more water. We're not going to put this fire out. The fire needs to do what it needs to do. It needs to burn off everything that's impure. And we talked about that. The anger, the sorrow that the ladies have dug up, but that fire, when healed, when purified, becomes an even deeper commitment to love. Love myself. Love those that I engage with. And so we talked about fire and the benefit of fire. The anger, the frustration, the hurt that you feel. I think Danielle in one of her posts says the exhaustion, like you feel it all the way down in your bones. A friend of mine laughs when I say it, but whole life exhausted. She said, what that mean, LaRahna? Like, like your whole life is exhausted. That's beyond the need for a nap. It's exhaustion. Danielle said it's like your bones. You tired all the way to your bones. It's not something that sometimes a nap feels. You need to refuel your spirit. We talked about that, about rest and what that is. Rest this week for me was jazz music and tapas and art and new friends in a place that feels good, relationships that feel good, big hugs in the middle of the street, in the middle of the evening, from people that know my name, the people that give me nicknames, La Ranita, the little frog. I take that from an old man in the middle of the street offering hugs. Absolutely, sure will, sure will. My mother used to say it. I think it was in spite, but I never took it that way because it was honest. You always got you some senior citizen friends. Sure do, sure do, sure do, sure do. I think it was a dig, but it was too true for me to say anything other than sure do. And not much has changed. That's been me since I was a kid. Brother Mitchell. Brother Mitchell died at 100 years old at 99. He's pretty doggone close to 100 years old. And to the end, he was my buddy. He was always going to ring, rah, rah, I'm going to wring your neck. That's what he used to call me, rah, 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 rah. Short for LaRahna, but that was a nickname that I had in childhood, rah, rah. I'm going to wring your neck. He was always going to wring my neck about something. but he was my friend. He would check on me. He knew I'd be up in the middle of the night sometime. He'd call. I bet you I knew you'd be up. If I wasn't, what you calling my phone in the middle of the night, old man? But for me, this week, music and food and hugs and nicknames and art and new friends, making new friends was rest. Was rest. Harassing my daughter, telling her about how I'm spending my Chick-fil-A money. Rest. The kind of rest that fuels your soul. Is it important? Yeah, it's important. It seems like the littleness of life, but it's important to refueling my spirit, my soul. And so fire was also a theme that we talked about yesterday. Let me see. I got notes and everything. My note taker, my AI note taker, ChatGPT just put out a new release, and I'm super excited about seeing what that is. AI is my friend. Yeah, there's issues with it, but AI is my friend. Let's see. Personal reflections. Let's see. The summary. My AI says, LaRahna Hughes opened the Sankofa Healing Circle by sharing personal reflections on freedom and authenticity and discussing healing through transformative processes like fire, self-love, and confronting personal poison to prevent hindering progress. Participants, including Danielle, shared their experiences of trauma and loss, reflecting on the emotional impact of acknowledging these past coping strategies. That really is a good summary of where we went. We talked about some of the experiences that we've had. We talked about our new friends, the value of community and interconnected relationships. I specifically shared about my relationship with a farm-to-table restaurant, and through that, it just widening my circle of Quancana family members. Through that restaurant, meeting Omar and taking my first ceramics class and loving it. And then meeting Eduardo Segovia and his wife and the people that I've met because of my connection there. Last time we were there a few weeks ago, it was running into George, who's a taxi driver that took the ladies on one trip. And now he's family. He's family. He knows us on site, on site in the middle of the street. And that's who I was looking for when Segovia walked up on me. We talked about the purpose of fire and healing. We talked about self-love and reclaiming self, the vows we rewrite. That's the title of the chapter, what we won't do for what you don't do for love. We did our Sankofa Healing Circle. And then we broke and we went on to our day. So the ladies are at 5A. That's the update. That's all the rambling I'm going to do this morning. I'm going to go finish cooking my greens so I can be ready to go to the market. The ladies are on 5A. If you want more information, a marketing plug, the links are in the chat. GangstaGranniesGlobal.com. You can find the social media links for our Gangsta Grannies this season. We had a cohort, 4 ladies, 2 of them here. You can also find the social media from the January cohorts and connect with them. You can find more information about our collaborative work at nowastedtime.com. And if you'd like more information specifically about the International Welcome Center and the programs we offer here, check out globalundergroundrailroad.com. We have a healing vacation retreat that's going to be in Kenya on November 6th through the 13th. We'd love for you to come. There are spaces available. Get your deposit paid to lock your space in. I'm super excited about that. We've got some opportunities for booking for the rest of the year. You can book private healing vacation retreats here in Cuenca, but we'd love for you to go with us to Kenya. you can book intensive healing sabbatical. There's opportunities in September and December. Um, and then next year is pretty wide open for bookings for the month long. And then stay tuned and looking at some of the information for our upcoming Heal Together season. The 2025-26 season of our Heal Together programming is going to include two programs. One, the Umbrella House program that really pairs longer residential stays. So it's great for people that may be transitioning. You're transitioning out of the country and you want to make this your first stop, that healing is going to take you into your next paradigm of life. But also individuals that may want to do an extended stay and don't want the intensity of the 1 month, want to be able to heal a little bit slower, be able to really relax into it differently. And then the other initiative that will be part of next year's Heal Together season, or this coming season, is our Healers Who Heal Together initiative. And so if you are in that space as a healer, lots of different modalities that healing happens in. But if you feel called to be a healer and you're in that space, or feel called to that space, it's about coming together and doing the healing personally. I've got to heal to be able to help others do healing work. And so we're making space for those who may be healers or called to healing, helping others heal. And our focus is going to be on supporting those individuals in the ways that we can. So reach out. Friends at nowastedtime.com is the email you can reach out to. I think there's links in the bio. Check it and see. Let me know if there's information there. But there's lots of ways to reach out. Put my name in, Google it, and it'll send you to my social media on Facebook and Instagram, or Linktree. And whether you connect with us or not, consider healing first as a lifestyle. All right, that's all I got. Good morning, Weeda.
How you doing?
I see you. I see you in the thing. All right, live life fully today. Goodbye.